Plenary session. A changing world, Russia's strategy.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's again a great honor for me to be the second time here to speak on a topic which is very important, and that too in front of an audience which is very knowledgeable and are fully conversant with the evolving geopolitical milieu in the world. Let's come to the point that we know that we are living in an era of contested multipolarity and dysfunctional multilateralism, which is playing out in a very complex, uncertain, ambiguous, hyper-connected and disruptive environment. We know that the rule-based so-called liberal world order that in any case had become redundant is being disowned and dismantled by its own creators, and that is United States of America. We know that nationalism and siege mentality, the nation, is paramount at the cost of cherished globalization. There have been significant scientific developments which have improved the quality of humankind. But at the same time, we are seeing dangerous conflicts, intrastate, interstate, which are being fought by proxies. They are prolonged in nature, and they involve whole of nations. It's not only between the militaries. Strategic trust between the main protagonists is at its lowest ebb, and countries are prone to miscalculate at the risk of escalation. UN has, particularly the Security Council, has become totally dysfunctional, and there is an absence of strategic dialogue and conflict prevention measures. A lack of it pose the risk of conflict spiraling out of control. There are, besides the two ongoing conflicts here, one in Ukraine and another in West Asia, there are other flashpoints which need to be paid heed to, and that is South China Sea, Taiwan contingency, even in East China Sea and the Korean Peninsula. If you look at all this, it reminds me of what Lee Kuan Yew, the founder of Singapore, said. He said that the state behavior is guided by social Darwinism, in which national interests would remain paramount in the balance of power. It also reminds me of what Charles Dickens said in his book, A Tale of Two Cities at the time of French Revolution, that it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, everything was before us and nothing was before us. So ladies and gentlemen, we are actually into an uncertain world. An uncertain world in which nations are hedging, balancing, aligning, and realigning. There are very few nations that are taking very clear-cut positions. And the major markers of this uncertain world, to my mind, would be the manifestation of Trump 2.0, which is essentially underscored by disruptions, deal-making, and deterrence. But I think it is going to be a temporary phase because his tenure is going to be limited to another 3.5 years, and he cannot come to power again. And maybe you will have another regime or another administration in the United States of America that will talk about what you call is America is back and build back better world kind of slogans. But no matter how it pans out, Pax Americana is down in the eyes of international community, but it is likely to remain a significant major players in the global order. Similarly, the most consequential relationship in this uncertain world is going to be how China and United States of America, they manage their relationship. that it doesn't degenerate into a very combative and conflictive situation. Europe and NATO are at the cusp of their very existence. Whether they're able to reinvent and recalibrate and rejuvenate is a matter of time. But I think Europe is left with a Hobson's choice. They have no other option than to get back towards Russia for renewal of energy supply and maybe build bridges with China for their economic revival. As far as East Asia is concerned, which has security guarantees from United States of America, again, there would be a degree of nervousness whether US will come to their rescue under Clause 5 of their commitment. And therefore, what we see that Japan, South Korea, and China, they have started their triangular dialogue. Philippines is also confused because of lack of trust. And particularly Taiwan, at this juncture, is quite wary of United States' strategy of ambiguity. And perhaps being alive to the realities of geopolitics, they may be more amenable to get into a serious dialogue with China. As far as Russia is concerned, it's already almost at the verge of a victory in Ukraine, and its focus will be internal and then reclaim its legitimate sphere of influence in the former Soviet Union space. As far as China is concerned, though its economy is facing headwinds, but its China Dream, Belt and Road Initiative, Global Developmental Initiative, Global Security Initiative, Global Civilizational Initiative, Global Mediation Initiative, and Global Artificial Intelligence Initiative are likely to remain on track. India has also become quite aspirational, and it has articulated what it calls its Developed India, Viksit Bharat 2047, and another very important program that is Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is Make in India. So it's going to sort of make steady progress along these lines. And in the meanwhile, while we head towards multipolarity, regional organizations like BRICS Plus, ASEAN, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, European Union will gain more salience. But it is paramount for these organizations to reconcile their internal contradictions, which are hampering their full potential for the good of the region. A major issue, I think, which the nations will have to grapple with is how to deal with economic sanctions and circumvent dollar, which has become a weapon of choice in the hands of United States of America. Concurrent with this would be an unbridled race in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and algorithm warfare. Likewise, lethal autonomous weapon systems are going to make their entry in the arena of warfare, and there would be militarization of space in the garb of dual use of space. Arms race is going to intensify, and we would see more and more saber rattling of nuclear weapons. The worst thing that I see today, that the humankind is getting digressed by all these things, and we are ignoring two major aspects. And one is what you call is the black swan events, what we saw in the garb of COVID epidemic. And second is the gray rhino events, which is like your climate change, on which I think we have taken these things have taken a back seat. There would also be a new pitch for the revival and reforms in the international institutions, and cognitive domain and strategic communication in the strategic calculus of nations will gain ground. As far as Russia is concerned, it has taken a very bold and it's playing on a front foot as far as multipolarity is concerned, and all its tenets are given in its National Security Strategy 2021, Foreign Policy 2023, and very recent review of its nuclear doctrine. So its focus is going to be on comprehensive national development, revitalize its civilizational DNA and look at patriotism, nationalism, Ukraine will remain a bottom line. They would not ever see Ukraine joining NATO. Its neutrality is paramount for them. And we will also see that they will have more and more voice in championing the cause of global South and play a lead role in the process of de-dollarization and also ensuring multipolarity. And there would be added focus from Russia to its pivot to Asia, in which India becomes one of the partners of choice. And their pivot to Asia, it coincides with India's Make in India and Developed India 2047. So India would also be working on 4 important mantras, that is development, deterrence, diplomacy, and strategic communication. So there is an alignment of India's Viksit Bharat 2047 and it's India's Act for East policy together with Russia's pivot to Asia. And both the countries will play a significant role in multipolarity and championing the cause of global South. Finally, I would say that if we have to look at this new world, as members of strategic community, we cannot look at this new world in binaries in black and white. It is the gray zone that needs to be deconstructed and demystified. To that extent, as members of strategic community, we need to address our cognitive biases. We need to address our blind spots and the flawed assumptions on which our analysis are made. Rather than mirror imagining, we have to be more realistic, discard our mental maps, group thinking, and have a de novo approach to demystify and deconstruct this world. And there is a need for all of us to work together so that we are able to move away from this zero-sum game of Cold War mentality to work towards a win-win kind of a paradigm. And in that, India has a very profound philosophy, what you call is Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We feel that India feels that we live in one earth, we are one family, and we look for one future, which is almost coterminous with what Chinese call the destiny of humankind. So we, together with like-minded nations, India will play an important role for making this world better and have a world order which is more equitable, more just, in which every country and every voice, every nation has a voice, and it is not, run by one hegemon or 2 or 3 hegemons. Thank you very much. First question is about the slogan, global in mind and Indian in heart. I mean, which one comes first, right? I would say that I think to my mind it's the heart that's more important. Because maybe the minds make us little more transactional, detached in our thinking, whereas heart is a matter of, human nature, that it is kindness, it's empathy, it's compassion, which is more important. And therefore, sometime, like you see in a love affair, I think it is the heart that rules over the mind. And it is the love affairs that make sagas and stories. So that, from that perspective, I think Indian in heart is more important because we are an old civilization and we believe in Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that is, world is one family, and therefore the slogan of one earth, one people, one future, which was articulated by India during G20, resonated very well with the international community. So that's my answer to your first question. The second question is conflicts. I think we have to be realistic that war and peace will go hand in hand. This is a human nature, that you cannot always avoid wars. Sometimes you have to fight wars to protect your sovereignty, your dignity, your national pride, Maybe one reason for Russia to sort of undertake this special military operations in Ukraine was some of your red lines and your thresholds were crossed. And like any self-respecting nation, when its red lines and its thresholds are crossed, it is left but with the Hobson choice to take recourse to war. But wars are not good, neither for you nor for your adversaries. This takes you back a couple of decades in your progress, and it has a phenomenal cost. So therefore, to avoid wars, you require statesmanship. You need leaders who are statesmen, who can find ways and means to circumvent difficult problems through an art of negotiation and dialogue. And therefore, it dawns upon all of us here that we should not be the warmongers, we should avoid warmongering, and we should talk and work towards peace. And the technology which is now coming in the hands of people, that technology should not be used to sharpen your arsenal and your arms and ammunition, but put it in the hand of humankind for its betterment. And we very strongly in India, we are a very sort of a non-hegemonic, non-revisionist country, and we would very much like to avoid wars, but at the same time, we have to be ready to face those countries or those adversaries who would take recourse to wars. So I would say peace and deterrence will go hand in hand. Thank you.